Okay, well, you want to just jump right into it?
Let's jump right into it.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Your Mother Ate My Dog, the podcast, right? That's what
Yep,
it's
it's a
called.
podcast. Yep, that's it.
Episode 19.
Wow.
Today we're talking about, well, Johnny Depp in the news. He got a bunch of money recently. I don't know what really went on, but he won a bunch of money. And 23 years ago, started a movie called Sleepy Hollow. And that's the movie of the week, Sleepy Hollow. This is a movie, classic Halloween movie. I have seen it a few times. I think the first time that I saw it, I was like 8 or something. It was a some sort of Halloween party that somebody's mom threw, and they were like, "Invite your friends from school." So then we just showed up, and we're in costumes probably, and they put on Sleepy Hollow for a
Sleepy
bunch of
Hollow for
children.
8-year-olds. Hmm.
Yeah, and I remember thinking how scary of a movie it was, and then um, I rewatched it pretty recently, either last Halloween or the Halloween before that.
Mm-hmm.
But learned a lot. Learned a lot with this second viewing. This was the first time that you watched it,
It is.
and how do you feel about Sleepy Hollow?
Well, I'm kind of glad that I chose it. It was a fun film. It was great seeing Johnny Depp in full form, if you will. And I haven't seen. I don't know. I feel like I've seen him in roles like kind of similar to this, but not quite like this. So it was a very unique film.
This
I
is
had
a
a lot of.
classic Johnny Depp.
Yeah, apparently. I truly knew nothing about it. I knew of the legend of Sleepy Hollow, I suppose, but that's the extent of it. But this was quite an enjoyable watch for me, I got to say.
Probably pretty surprising to see Chris Walken, just show up pretty early.
Yeah,
Martin Landau. There's a lot of big names.
there sure is. Yeah,
Dumbledore. I forgot about quite a few of these people.
Dumbledore and Vernon Dursley and Rita Skeeter, lots of Harry Potter people.
Rita was in this.
Yeah, she's like the main lady behind it all. Behind
Oh, she
yes,
plays Lady Tassel.
yes, she does.
I didn't realize that.
Yep, I
Yeah, it
didn't
was
realize until it was pointed out to me. Like, oh yeah, it is Rita
me,
Skeeter.
me too. Yeah, when you pointed it out to me.
Just then.
Yeah, fun movie. It's a Tim Burton movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, you can tell pretty much right away. It just has a look to it.
Definitely. Well, I didn't even know Tim Burton directed this. That's how in the dark I was about this film. I had no idea. I was like, "Oh, Tim Burton." Well, I was excited about that notion that he had directed it.
Well, all you knew about the movie was Johnny Depp was in it. So
Yep.
and there was
Yep.
a horseman who didn't have a head, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Okay, well, do you want to jump into what made this movie so memorable for you?
Yeah. It had a good start. We kind of like just sort of thrown into this late 18th century New York landscape, I suppose, very gothic. And then we get a glimpse of Christopher Lee, who is in this film for a very short period of time. Um, and of course, with that very brief time that he had, I mean, he killed his performance. I mean, he's so good. I really like Christopher Lee, but it sort of had like I guess I might say like an adverse effect to the whole of the film because I just kept wishing that Christopher Lee was in this film more. And it got to the point where I wished that Christopher Walken's character, who I mean, I can go through a little more thoroughly later. I wish that he had been portrayed by Christopher Lee, mainly because like Christopher Lee did a lot of horror films like earlier on in his career, and he played Dracula a lot of times. And I think like maybe moving those performances that he did in Dracula over to this one would have worked really well. And so I would have really have liked to seen that. And I guess what I'll say about Christopher Walken's performance was that it just felt a little silly to me. Like he wasn't scary at all. I was like, that's just Christopher Walken with some silly hair. I don't know. What did you think about that whole role that Christopher Walken did?
I mean, he had some silly teeth as well.
Yep, that's true.
He doesn't speak at all in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I suppose it did come across as a little silly,
Oh yeah,
having him basically in two scenes in the whole movie. But you know what? It worked. I
you thought it
believed
worked?
it. I believed he could be a,
Mm.
a head
Headman.
a head of a he was a horseman who had a head at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I could believe it. I thought maybe it added to the movie. You know, if it wasn't
Okay.
Christopher Walken, it was just some random dude. It wouldn't have
Certainly, it
been.
couldn't have been some random dude, but I think just Christopher. I found myself longing for more Christopher Lee.
So you would have wished it was Christopher Lee
Oh
as the headless horseman with his two scenes where he doesn't talk. He just kind of grits his teeth
yes,
and then eventually takes out the main bad woman.
yep. I am sure it would have made the film better.
Okay, good to know.
In my opinion, I just like there. I mean, movie's not perfect, and truly, the scenes where Christopher Walken, plays himself, like you can actually see that it's him, were a little silly to me. I mean, I guess there is a little bit of I guess you could say a comedic undertone, somewhat, to this film. Like it's like dark comedy, I guess. Is
Most of Johnny Depp's acting had that kind of tone, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So, but and here I just for a lot of the time it did work, but the parts with Christopher Walken, like I don't know, was that supposed to be silly, or was that supposed to be like scary? What do you think?
Well, do you think the movie was supposed to be scary? Because I don't think it came across as like a scary movie. It came across more as like a funny scary movie.
Okay, like
There,
almost like the namesake of our podcast, where that's like it's not really Dead Alive. It's not really a horror movie. It's more of a comedy horror movie
yeah.
like
And just
that.
an aside, I think when we're ready to stop the podcast, I think Dead Alive has to be the last movie we do.
Hmm.
Um, I think once there were so many beheadings in this movie.
Yes.
I think apparently 19 people had their head chopped off.
Hmm.
And so I think at that point you're just kind of like, okay, this isn't like a serious scary movie.
Yeah,
Just
that's
head
fair.
chop off after head chop off. This movie did win an Oscar winning movie, Best Art Direction.
Okay.
Johnny Depp has never seen the film because he hates the way he acts in it.
Well, I think he kind of just doesn't watch anything he does. Like, I'm pretty sure that he's pretty notorious for like not knowing anything about his roles.
I've
But
never seen a full Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
oh,
I think I think I've seen very little Johnny Depp. Um,
huh.
I've seen his cameo in 21 Jump Street.
Hmm. If I were to pick one movie of his to watch, I would pick Ed Wood myself. That's a very
Well,
good movie.
I've not seen that movie, but apparently Ed Wood, there's a lot of actors in this movie that are also in Ed Wood.
Yeah, like Martin Landau. He's in Ed Wood, I think. He's like
Yes.
one of the main guys.
Yeah.
But I want to get to a point that you sort of briefly made,
Okay.
which was about, how there were so many beheadings.
Hmm.
I also felt like there was so many moments, where Johnny Depp fainted, and there was I don't know, like there was just like a lot of like, there's that again, there's that again, there's that again, like it just everything kept repeating. Did you find that happening a lot?
Yeah, and I thought it was for comical purposes. So I
Okay.
think that kind of, again, kind of threw it from being a scary movie to being more, they're trying to be funny, which
Oh,
was fine. Like it fit the tone
Hmm.
of the film. This wouldn't have worked, I don't think, as well. I mean, the Rotten Tomato score wasn't. I mean, it was fine,
Hmm.
70%, I think, but it wouldn't have been as good of a movie if it was scary, scary, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess maybe the comedy was a little lost on me, I guess. Not lost, like I could tell they're going for it, but maybe just not that effectual. I don't know. Do you find moments in this film pretty funny or?
No, not like laugh out loud funny, but Johnny Depp's character, you can kind of tell he was doing
Hmm.
something.
Yeah, he was like over the top, but it that his performance did work, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Johnny Depp was 35 at the time of filming.
Oh, really?
Christina Ricci was 18.
Oh, ooh, ooh.
Depp initially found this love interest odd, considering he'd known Ricci since she was 9
Oh,
when they were
yeah.
both on the set of Mermaids.
Okay.
Another interesting fact, Depp was dating Winona Ryder at the time,
Mm-hmm.
who originally turned down the role of Katrina Van Tassel.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
there was quite a bit of trivia for this movie. I went through most of it.
Yeah.
I did not write much of it down, but this is a pretty famous movie. Like people know Sleepy Hollow.
Mm-hmm. Apparently.
Um, $70 million budget, box
Yeah.
office 207 million.
Okay.
So it did
Pretty
it did
successful.
pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
They filmed, if I can remember correctly, some of the sets were they filmed on location. The first Star Wars, they used a lot of the same sets apparently.
Oh, interesting.
Um, yeah.
I will
Uh,
I will say like you mentioned the $70 million budget. I guess I did want to talk about the effects a bit, the visual effects, whether it be practical effects, which there was a good amount of, and also like CG effects, you could say. Did you have any strong feelings about like the different effects, whether it be practical or CG?
I noticed them certainly. I thought, well, the first one I noticed, which wasn't really important, but when Dumbledore was getting dragged when he was standing on top of the thing inside, and then was that Dumbledore? So,
Yeah,
when who got this? Did
yeah,
he get the stake through him?
hmm,
Well, when he was being dragged, I thought that was pretty cool. I was wondering how they did that,
yeah,
because like it looked like they were dragging Dumbledore,
hmm.
but that's. I mean, I thought when people got their heads chopped off, I didn't think it was too unreasonable.
I
I thought
liked
they did
those.
that pretty well.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Yep,
We've seen a lot of people getting their heads chopped off
we have.
on the podcast so far, and I thought Sleepy Hollow did it as well as anybody
I
back in
did.
1999.
Yep, that's true. I did prefer Bram Stoker's Dracula for that particular thing, but it was still good in this.
This
I
had a Dracula vibe a little bit.
It did. It did. I was now like the CG effects. I'm thinking of like when Ichabod went and visited like that witch. Well, he didn't visit her like on purpose, I guess. I don't know. Like he
Mhm.
happened upon that witch and like her eyes popped out or whatever. And I think there was a couple other like tiny moments of like CG effects. I thought they were not great, but I mean they didn't use them very often. It almost felt like it was so inoften or so infrequent that they used CG effects that they could have just done without them, and it
Yeah,
would have been better. But I don't know. It's 1999. Maybe they're sort of hopping on the train like this is like the new thing. So maybe that's why they did it. I don't know.
I agree. They probably could just gotten rid of it.
Because there was
Didn't
like
matter.
yeah, because like when they got to the tree and like the heads were like stored in the tree, like that was all practical effects and it was like pretty cool. There was a lot of cool practical effects, I thought.
Do you think Christopher Walken's teeth were CG'd?
No, but very poorly done though. I don't know. I like
Oh,
that. I wish that I can't get over that that whole thing, Christopher Walken. It just didn't work. And like his hair looks stupid and his teeth look stupid. Just I don't know. It was distracting.
well, that's just how they looked. 1799.
I guess so. I guess so.
Apparently, Ichabod Crane is supposed to be a pretty ugly dude himself, but they cast Johnny Depp, so
Yeah, who is not an ugly man. Now, I also so like if I were to talk about give like a glimpse of acting because I know we haven't gotten to the scores yet, but there was one character who I felt was quite weak compared to the others, and they also managed to have like a pretty big role ultimately. Can you think of anyone that you really had problems with in terms of their acting?
I had a problem with Lady Van Tassel.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of.
And I feel so bad because every movie it's like, oh, the main woman,
I don't know.
she's bad.
Well, I mean, Katrina Van Tassel was good. I thought she did it.
Christina Ricci was fine, yeah, but she was, a teenager.
Yeah, but I thought she did well, considering maybe
But
she hasn't been acting very long. I don't know. Much better than Miranda Richardson.
Christina Ricci's been acting forever. Casper,
Uh huh.
Mermaids, apparently.
Yeah, some film I've never heard of.
I think Cher's in it.
Okay.
Maybe that's what we'll watch the next week.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, sure. Like that character, Lady Van Tassel, she's just like overblown, but not in a good way. It didn't quite fit the tone. Like to the extent like everyone else was overblown, especially like the main conspirators that the men who we thought, who I thought were the main conspirators. That little group of five of them, they were overacting, but like super effective. It was.
Yeah, it was disappointing for sure. I
Mm-hmm.
liked the twist of the evil stepmother.
Yep.
One I didn't really see coming
No, I didn't
because
see it
we
coming.
thought she was dead.
Yeah,
But then yeah, just her delivery and
and it's
it just didn't work for me.
and especially the end, which will also play into my ending score as well. Like where she's holding Katrina like captive, and then she's explaining her entire plot. That was a problem. I thought I had a problem with the writing in that scene, where I think like it's a common movie trope, I suppose, where it's near the end and the villain now reveals their plan all along, and it's a trope maybe I'm maybe sick of at this point, but it can be done a little better. Like maybe the main villain explains a few things, and then you see the protagonists sort of work things out a little for themselves, and they go, "Oh, that's why this, and that's why this," and then the villain will go, "Oh yeah, exactly." But instead, like Lady Van Tassel just literally explained every single thing, and it was just like far too laid out for me.
That's a great point.
It was just like so the worst delivery of a villain scheme ever. Like I don't know. I mean, that's totally out of left field. Doesn't make any sense, but it just wasn't very engaging the way it was written.
Well, then you probably enjoyed seeing her heading to hell through a tree for the rest of her eternity. The rest of her eternity. That
The
didn't
rest
make
of
any
her
sense.
eternity. Yep, yep, yep.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Hmm.
Do you have any other points before we get to the meat of this episode, which is scoring?
Yeah. One last thing I will say on the topic of movie tropes is one that I feel like I've seen a million times, and this is the film that made me most aware to it. So now I'm gonna see it in every movie I watch that has it. It's where somebody has something in their pocket that prevents them from being stabbed. I swear I've seen that in so many movies. It's like, oh, they're gonna get stabbed in the heart. Oh no, just kidding. They had a deck of cards in their pocket,
A Bible.
a Bible, a big wad of cash. Like the wad of cash, I'm thinking of Rush Hour 2.
Of course you are.
Yeah, because I love that movie. But that's a trope that was in that movie. Chris Tucker survives because he has a big wad of cash in his pocket. So I don't know. That was just something I noticed. I mean, it won't affect my score all that much, but now I'm forever going to notice that movie trope.
So it sounds like this movie was pretty medium for you.
Yeah, overall, it is medium. A lot of things were really well done, but then it suffered from some glaring issues that were like very annoying to me.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to hear about your score. So let's get into it. Expectation. Start with you, a man who's never seen the movie before. What was your expectation score?
My score for expectation, I just put it right down the middle at a 5, only because I really didn't have any, good nor bad. I know that my girlfriend, when I mentioned that this is the film that I chose, she was excited because she had always been meaning to watch it. She had also not seen it. And so, like, if if you hear somebody say, "Oh, I've been meaning to watch it," then maybe it's supposed to be good. That's really the only level of expectations that I had, just that one little interaction. And beyond that, yeah, I mean, the film was pretty solid. And so, I mean, it's tough to put an expectation score if I really didn't have any. So that's why I just had it right down the middle. So I guess
Maybe we should get rid of expectation score. Maybe we should just do like, did
just,
it meet your expectation? Was it better than you thought? Was it worse than you thought it was going to be?
yeah, we'll just at this rate, we'll just have no scoring
Oh,
rubric.
score out of 10, yeah. Okay.
What about you? I guess that's kind of hard to say if you've already seen it. This is like your second or third time seeing it.
Yeah, I give it a 4. Much like yourself, um, I thought I thought it would be better. I thought I remembered it. That'd be better. And it just was a 4 to 10. I mean, Johnny Depp in olden times, a
Hmm.
movie with Tim Burton. You thought it would be real good, but yeah, it was fine. Four to
Right.
ten.
Okay, that's fair.
Thank you.
You're
Now,
welcome.
now acting.
Okay.
Sounds like you have a lot to say, so I'll just get mine out of the way.
Okay.
I gave it a 7.5 out of 10,
Hmm.
below your mind a little bit there. I thought it was pretty good, acting pretty good. Johnny Depp um, and his Ichabod Crane, great character. He's a fine actor. Obviously, there were some heavyweights in the film that you wouldn't have known coming in. We talked about them
Hmm.
already. They contributed in a
Hmm.
positive way. Christopher Lee, am I right? Um, we already said that Lady Van Tassel left us a little bit sour in the mouth, but other than that, everybody else is pretty good. Christina Ricci, great, 7.5.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a fair score, and mine's not honestly not too far off of that because overall the acting was quite good. Yeah, it just was those really it was Lady Van Tassel, the character I did not like, and Miranda Richardson's portrayal of that character just wasn't very it wasn't well done, I thought. And I'm not going to dock too many points off for Christopher Walken's. I mean, really, that wasn't an actor's role. Really, I mean, he barely acted. He just had a little bit of facial expressions and some grunts, and that's about it. So I didn't like the character, but I can't really say much to the acting because there wasn't much to do with it. So my score overall is a 7, just because I mean, yeah, like you said, Johnny Depp also was. I mean, he was solid. It was a good performance. I liked it. Christina Ricci was good. Like I said, those four gentlemen, I suppose you could call them, who I thought were the main conspirators. They were all quite good, very unique in their own way, and quite effectual. So yeah, 7.
Maybe Christopher Walken was doing Tim Burton a favor by being in this film. That short cameo, just he had like a weekend to spare, so they just filmed all his stuff in one, and then that was it.
Mhm. Could be.
Okay, ending. I'll let you go first for what you thought about the ending of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, the ending is definitely the weakest part of the plot of this film. It's like I said, Lady Van Tassel like literally explaining every facet of her plan. This is like that's basically what I'm calling the end, from her explaining everything and then like her ultimate fate. I suppose that whole sequence was really stupid, and also like when Johnny Depp and like Christina Ricci's characters like were running away from the headless horseman like in that windmill or whatever. I don't know. That felt kind of silly to me too. I don't know what it was about it, but it just felt like it was so pointless. And then I guess Lady Van Tassel meeting her fate, like I guess it was satisfying in a way, but I don't know. It all just culminated in at the end in a way that I did not like. And so basically, my score for ending was a 3. Like it was easily the worst part, and it sucks that it had to be right at the end because that's kind of like what gives you the most lasting impression, I suppose.
Disappointing. There were quite a few scenes in this film where it was just like Johnny Depp and everybody like running around, being chased or chasing, and then there's music. It's dark,
Hmm.
like quite a bit, quite noticeable.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely like a big part of this film.
So ending for me, um, I'd say I liked the ending twice as much as you. I gave it a 6 out of 10. This is an ending that you kind of expect, like you want to be wrapped up pretty pretty nicely. You want to know why the bad guy did what the bad guy did.
Hmm.
So you're expecting that scene where with the gun pointed to the head of somebody and being like, if it wasn't for you, dastardly children, I would have gotten away with it.
Right.
Like Johnny Depp was always going to solve the mystery and either kill the headless horseman or set him free, depending on
Right.
how it went. And he ends up doing that.
Hmm.
I didn't hate the scene with Christopher Walken and Lady Tassel ending up in that tree to hell.
Hmm.
It was decent. So 6 out of 10.
That's fair. Yeah, like a big part of my score too is like the two characters I dislike the most are like they're both there at the end. So that was a little unfortunate as well.
It's okay. We forgive you. Score out of 10. Um, Once again, I feel like I'm gonna have the higher score
Does seem that way.
just because that's who I am as a human being. But I give it 6.5 out of 10.
Okay, that's honestly not too much higher than my score. Because the more I'm thinking about it, I do want to give it a little bit lower of a score than what my gut reaction was. Because right when the film ended, or maybe 2 minutes after or so, I turned to my girlfriend. I said, "Well, what would you give this out of 10?" She said, "Well, it was pretty enjoyable. Not the best. I'd give it like a 6." I was like, "That's exactly what I was thinking, a 6." But now that I'm like taking some time to reflect and sort of put my thoughts out there into words, I think it's a little lower than a 6. So I'm more at, I think I'm going to be at a 5.5. Yeah, 5.5. I don't know. There was like a lot of really cool parts. The headings were cool, and a lot of the performances were cool. But the writing suffered quite a bit. There was a lot of problems with that, I thought. The ending sucked, and the main villain in his, like, I guess, human form was just silly. And not in a way that, like, it didn't feel intentional to me. Like, because I guess this is supposed to be like a dark comedy, so it's supposed to be funny in some way, but it just didn't feel funny in the right way. It just felt stupid. So yeah, 5.5.
Christopher Walken was scary as an 8-year-old.
Oh
Terrifying.
yeah. Oh, I can. As an 8-year-old, that would be definitely terrifying.
Just an
But
aside,
mhm.
Danny Elfman does the music for this movie. He does the music for so many movies,
Oh yeah, he's quite prolific. He's done
literally all of them. All the movies and
Every
The
single one.
Simpsons. That's what
Yeah.
he does.
Hmm.
Okay, well, then that closes the chapter on Sleepy Hollow, which came out in 1999, based in 1799. I wonder if they did that on purpose, talking about the change of the century so much. But yeah, it was a good movie. It was fine. It was a good movie. Good choice. You seem to almost like your choice. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely memorable, and there was a lot of parts that I liked for sure. I'm glad I chose it.
Well, I'm glad that you chose it too. And now we can move on to another movie for episode 20. Can you believe it?
I actually can't. It doesn't feel like we've
Episode,
done 20 at all.
well, we started 6 months ago ish. So,
Yeah, crazy.
so yeah, that's so crazy. But I don't know. I don't have much to say about my movie choice because I don't know much about it. Finally,
Hmm.
going into it, not knowing anything about a movie,
I've seen
which
clips
was
from it
it's
actually.
personally my fault.
Yeah.
I know James Woods is in
James.
it.
Yep.
I know there's a television involved. Maybe?
Yes.
I don't know.
There is. There is.
It's an 80s movie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's probably on Prime.
That seems like a Prime movie, doesn't it?
So that'll be next week. Um, yeah. Anything you want to speak on as we enter the third phase of our podcast, which is just the talk about nothing until we decide to stop phase.
Some call it their favorite phase, and I mean I can't blame them to a certain extent. I don't know. I don't know if I was trying to think of things we could talk about, but I don't know. We could just try to pull something out of thin air. You watching the basketball finals?
The weather sure is crazy, huh?
Mm.
No, I'm not watching the basketball finals. Um,
Not a big
I'm
basketball
not.
fan.
No, I don't care about the basketball.
I don't care really to an extent, but I do. Like I'll watch the highlights, but there's no way I'm gonna sit down and watch the games. I cared a little when Toronto was in the finals, but that's about it.
So I hear your brother graduated high school. Wow, is he tall?
He sure is. He's taller than me. He's like 6'4" or 6'5" or something.
Well, that's not hard to do when you're 5'10".
When you're, yeah, I myself am. Well, we've got kind of like a tall family, I suppose. I'm 6'2". My dad's 6'4". My brother's 6'4", 6'5", or something like that.
Well, no wonder you're interested in basketball.
Yeah, I know. Am I right? Are you right? What?
I only watch curling on the television because I'm short.
Yeah, curling is definitely for short people. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you saw a tall person throwing this rock?
Maybe we should stop talking about curling because I know that there are a lot of passionate curlers out there. I have some in my family who will correct us when we're joking about it. So
Oh, we wouldn't want to go that far then. Let's not
yeah,
go. Let's not go there.
they're a pretty crazy group of people, those curlers.
Mm.
So yeah,
Hurry hard. Am I right?
that's what they say. Okay, well,
Yeah. Hmm.
I have been thinking that we should do something for this segment, like trivia or something, or fan mail. But
Fan mail. We need to have fans to do that.
yeah, no fan mail yet. But maybe eventually we can just like read out the names of some people who have followed us. There's quite a few funny names. Maybe I'll just jump on that right now of people who have followed us
On
on
Instagram,
Instagram.
who you've just admitted have funny names. So you're gonna
Yeah,
go
like
ahead and read that out.
funny handles, like clever. Clever is where I was kind of going.
Yeah, well, there's this one here that I'm seeing. Greg. Yeah, that's a stupid name.
So the last person who followed us, atrophia underscore cerebral underscore noise core.
I actually noticed that they had followed us. I took a quick gander at their page. They seem to be into metal music and the like.
Yeah, from Peru. Very exciting. It's always exciting when people follow us, when we have not interacted with them at all,
In any way, yes.
I do check that sometimes. I'm like, oh, let's see
See if we
if
liked any of their photos or something like that.
yeah, and like that person have not.
Not a
Um,
single interaction. So thank you for joining us. I
yeah,
mean, yeah. Shout
thanks,
outs.
thanks for that one. That's I guess you know what that's gonna be our follower of the week. So pretty
Okay.
exciting.
Can I get that name again? Our follower of the week?
Sure. It's a Trophia, ATROFIA underscore cerebral, CEREBRAL underscore noise core, NOISECORE. They are apparently from Lima, Peru.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't speak uh, English, maybe.
You don't speak English, maybe. Well, I mean, that's a
Maybe
whole
they do.
sentence. That's a whole sentence we could just unpack.
That's just
Like
yeah,
that,
just a
that
lot
might not
of.
even make it in the edit. Who knows?
I think it will. I think it's gonna be a pretty easy edit this time. Yeah. So follower of the week, exciting. Not to put you on the spot, but I hear you might be making t-shirts.
Yes. Well, it has been in the works a little. I think it'd be a fun thing to do. Hand them out to friends and family. It's,
Hand them out seems generous.
well, I mean, we could sell them, I suppose. It's like,
Uh,
hey,
selling them seems generous as well.
I go to my girlfriend. Yep. So it's going to be $20. Sorry about that. But I don't know. I mean, it'd be kind of fun. We got a cool logo, I have to say.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool logo. Probably pretty expensive to make shirts. It is something that I have looked at. With your birthday coming up, it was something that I took a gander at and like,
Hmm.
oh, I should that's what I should get him for his birthday, but way too expensive. So I'm like, oh, I'll just pretend that I forgot about his
That's a good call.
birthday. So
That's a good call. I mean, we don't usually exchange gifts,
no,
and you're
but
not even going to be present for my get together.
oh, that's supposed to be a surprise.
Oh, yeah. What?
Maybe I'll edit this. So yeah, bad timing, your birthday and stuff,
Well, that's fine.
unfortunately. But maybe we can go bowling or something. Well, yeah, exciting times ahead. I mean, maybe we'll get to 600 followers and have a party,
Yeah.
an
600.
online party because of COVID.
Mm-hmm. It does seem to be dwindling. Well, I mean, I think it's like dwindling. Like I'm getting weary of it. It's been going on so dang long.
I mean, I'm gonna knock on some wood, but I mean, I'm still undefeated against COVID.
I'll knock on some wood as well, as am I, because we're very careful people.
Yeah, I'm not even that careful anymore. I just can't, like, it doesn't affect me. I don't know what it is. Like,
Oh,
I've known people, I've been around people inadvertently, like, after the fact
mm-hmm.
that, like, days later tell me, oh, yeah, like, I got COVID, so I probably had it. I'm like, okay, well, let me take some tests and, yeah, nothing. Like, I could really use some time off.
You're
But,
immune. You're immune.
I guess I'm immune. I guess that's why you vaccinate. Okay, so we just took a pretty big political stance there, and in our pro vaccine podcast.
W-
I hope that does
w-
not affect our followers. I hope that does not affect Atrophia.
Well, I want to make sure they stay on board because that was. I mean, when I saw that on my notifications today, my heart skipped a beat. I was just so excited
I'm
because
learning.
they're well known in the Instagram canon, if you will.
Yeah, like are they? I didn't even look to see how big they were. They're pretty similar to what we're doing here. So I'm actually learning French
Okay.
through Duolingo. So I'm about 20. I'm on a 26-day streak right now. Je m'appelle Josh, and
Wow.
but that's not what they speak. They speak Spanish. They're from Peru,
Well, yo
so that's not
hablo
gonna.
mucho español, pero yo no tengo mucho dinero.
Okay,
See?
well you got that then.
Yeah. Yeah. That's about it. I'm really good at saying those two sentences, and then after that, it's basically nothing.
You have the
I can say
the
that.
verbiage
Yeah.
accent, I should say.
Yeah. In a sense. That was took 3 years of high school Spanish, and 2 sentences is what I got. I have been thinking about learning another language. If I were to learn one, it'd be Tagalog, just like what they speak in the Philippines.
And why is that?
I just known a lot of people from the Philippines, and it's a very interesting language.
Yeah, that's fair. I only chose French because, we live in Canada. And that seems like something good to have. I don't want to learn French. I
Yeah,
want something cooler than that, like what you just said, but you gotta learn French first.
but like I feel like there's a lot of. I mean, I could think of maybe 10 people I know that speak Tagalog, and it'd be cool to be able to talk to them in that language. Where
Name them.
oh,
No, don't name them. It was a joke.
okay, but whereas I mean, I know that French is one of our national languages, but I don't know anyone who that speaks it. So I mean, I don't know how practical it is where I live in Canada, which is as far away from the French speaking part of Canada that you can get.
Yeah, that's true. Um, that's true. It's whatever.
The nice thing about French is that in terms of the grand scale of languages, it's pretty easy one to learn. Like I would reckon it's got to be in the top 10. I mean, that's just pulling that out of the top of my head, but it is from what I understand, it's pretty easy.
Probably easier than English.
Yeah, English is supposedly pretty hard, but I don't know. Couldn't really speak on that.
Well, on that note, maybe it's time to wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right. We've
Uh,
gone on a long roller coaster that I did not anticipate.
yeah. So, if you're still listening, we watched and talked about Sleepy Hollow, the 1999 Johnny Depp film. We are Your Mother Ate My Dog. We are a podcast.
Hmm.
We know one language, but we have followers that know many languages.
Yes. Can I make a request?
Okay.
Just just right at the end here, because well, anyway, you know how on some of our episodes of the podcast, the intro and outro music is from Reanimator.
Oh, like the first episode that we
Yeah,
did? Yeah, you want
it's
that?
like it's like na, 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 na,
You
na,
want
na,
that to come
na.
back?
I do. I think you did it for more than one episode. Surely, was it really just the first episode?
Maybe the second one as well. Maybe the third one. Maybe the first three. You want?
Maybe just for this one, maybe we can put it in. Just it's very satisfying.
Do you want both the intro and the outro?
Maybe. Well, I mean, you choose. You're the editor. I mean, if it's too much work, I just don't even bother.
I mean, I just have to find it again. I did recently switch computers, so I'll just have to re-get it legally.
Yep, of course.
But yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, that's it.
Okay, well, yeah, thanks again for everybody doing. I mean, nobody listens to this, but thank you so much.
I like that's what our resolve is. It's just not, no one listens.
We should
Except
just
Greg.
we should just say something really controversial and see if anybody notices. You go
That is-
first.
Okay. How about I think about it, and next episode I'll hit you with one.
Sounds good. Trying to think of one that isn't all that controversial.
And that isn't just terrible.
Maybe